Today I'm going to answer the questions that people ask me on an almost daily basis about the Simagic handbrakes and shifters. While they're all at least as good as their competitors' products, deciding between them can be a bit confusing. I'm Lawrence, welcome to the channel. Introduction. On the left you'll see all the sections in this video. I've put timestamped links to each section in the description below. There are product links in the description, some of which are affiliate links for worldwide brands and resellers. The products in this review were sent to me free of charge for the purposes of this review and will never be sold for personal financial gain, which ensures an independent and objective analysis of products. Channel revenue is mainly generated through memberships and donations, but never from the sale of review products. First impressions. This hardware is sleek, well built and relatively heavy if you're used to plastic products. There's little styling continuity between them, which is a little odd. Originally I held off doing long-term reviews because I thought that these products would evolve quite quickly, but they haven't. Maybe because they're not Simagic's priority, but I bet it's because they're all pretty damn good. For example, while the shifters connect via a USB A to B cable, the handbrakes both opted for a USB A to C cable. DS8X Shifter. Probably my pick of the bunch, the DS8X is a very good H pattern and sequential combo. A simple hand switch allows you to change between them on the fly. It handles both the software and hardware switch. So as well as the physical behavior of the shifter changing, the sequential inputs also register as different inputs to their H pattern counterparts, which is nice and means you don't need to reassign any controls between modes. This lever is at the side though, which can make mounting a handbrake pretty difficult, especially the TBRS handbrake, which needs a lot of space for the elastomer stack and hydraulic reservoir. The reverse lockout consists of a sleeve on the shaft which you lift up in order to engage the gears outside of the standard 6. It's relatively easy to get used to. While the sequential shift is practical, functional and pretty rewarding, it's also quite a long and laboured throw, which doesn't feel anywhere near as nice as that of the Q1 shifter, which I'll cover in the next section. It feels similar to that of the Fanatec, but the H pattern experience of the Simagic is nicer. If you're not keen on the standard knob pictured, there's a round carbon shift knob and a tampered carbon shift knob available at a relatively minimal extra cost. The biggest thing going against the DS8X shifter is not its complicated name though, it's the price. At €439, it's significantly more expensive than its rivals, like the Fanatec Club Sport shifter. However, there just aren't many rivals, and given the superior build quality, better mounting options and smaller footprint, the Simagic wins that battle comfortably. I've tried to beat the crap out of this shifter, and as many of you have seen on my streams, it has stood the test of time. Q1 Shifter. If a standalone sequential shifter is more your style, this is about as good as it gets for me in sim racing. Firstly, that clunk is delicious. The tactile engagement of the mechanism is sure to impress, although beware of its volume. This thing is loud when you up the resistance. You'll feel the vibrations through the rig and maybe beyond. But that's where the party piece comes in for me. This oversized nut varies the resistance on the shift. And as you reduce the resistance, the noise also almost disappears. This is especially good when you need to consider your housemates or family. A quick toolless adjustment of the knob, almost like a volume knob, allows you to find the exact balance which suits you in that moment. This is a feature that not many other shifters can provide. Adjusting it to the 0 resistance points still gives you a surprisingly nice feel. This has to be one of my favourite sequential shifters on the market. The buttons are those glorious buttons they used to have on early Simagic wheels. Honestly, I miss them. They feel so nice to press. They're backlit with a limited number of colours and only 3 of them are assignable. Super handy for controls that you want within reach, but not necessarily on your steering wheel. Again though, all this goodness doesn't come cheap. At €379, this beast costs nearly as much as the DS8X. And if I could only have one on my rig, it would be the DS8X because I love H pattern. There is a version of this shifter with less frills though, and it's called the Q1S. And it comes in at €279, which is €100 less. I haven't used that shifter, but I can only assume it to be mechanically identical. There's a long and short handle available. I tried both and I prefer the one you see featured throughout this video. HB1 Handbrake. In this section, you're probably expecting me to build up to the hydraulic TBRS as the best Simagic handbrake, but it's not. This HB1 is. The fact that it's my pick out of the two comes down to a number of factors, but the main ones are the easy mounting holes, the small footprint, and the surprisingly good feel for a relatively cheap unit. €199 is great value in my opinion. It's not perfect though. The hand grip is too small and really lets it down. You can screw the hand grip off though, so you could in theory 3D print something or find something online that will fit. The limited adjustability and simplistic internal mechanism give me the confidence while drifting and rallying. And again, I've tried to find play or faults in this device, and each time I put it on the rig, I'm pleasantly reminded that it's a seriously good piece of kit and well priced. The HB1 is a winner and is my favourite handbrake of choice if you want to stay in the Simagic ecosystem. The Moza handbrake is cheaper and also worth checking out, but it's not as good as the HB1. Although not widely advertised, you can also run this handbrake in horizontal orientation, which is great for a road car simulation or old school drifting action. TBRS hydraulic handbrake. This thing is mega impressive, but it's largely a showcase of what Simagic is capable of. They threw everything at this thing, and as well as looking beautiful, it looks complicated and potent, especially with that haptic motor on it. The haptic motor does require a standalone power supply, but it's easily configurable in the Simagic software or SimHub. However, it's probably one of the most useless haptic motors you'll ever put on your rig. I actually set it to vibrate during gear shifts, and even at that, much of the vibration is lost to parts of the rig that I'm not touching. Honestly, it's super cool, but you'd be a bit mad to buy a haptic motor for it unless you were just trying to show off. As for the hydraulic functionality, it's neat and does add to the feel, but I don't think it's worth the extra money. And truth being told, it's not a hydraulic handbrake. It's still a load cell that does all the input measuring, not a hydraulic sensor. I guess it's all relative. If you want the statement handbrake, this is it. Form and function and bells and whistles. But it does start at €329. That's before you add that haptic motor. Finally, because the hydraulic cylinder and elastomer stack protrude out to the side, it can be awkward to mount alongside a shifter. Final thought. I can't think of another manufacturer that has come close to nailing each one of these disciplines. In truth, the Q1 sequential shifter only gets a look in if you want a really high quality dedicated sequential shift experience. But if that's the case, it's one of the finest money can buy for both hobbyist and professional level training. But honestly, most of us will be more than happy with the DS8X, which allows high quality H-pattern shifting while still being able to whip out the sequential experience with the flick of a switch. You'll probably not have space for both shifters on your rig if you also want to run a handbrake, and even if you do, it's probably not going to be comfortable. And as for handbrakes, my practical mindset means that the HB1 is the winner in this battle, as it offers better value for money, less complexity, but still gives a great and adjustable handbrake experience, despite the itty-bitty handle which really needs to be addressed. But if you like impressing your friends, and if you have spare money, the TBRS is amazing. The haptic motor is fun but unnecessary. The handbrake looks a little odd without it. Mounting is a little bit awkward compared to the HB1. All in all, Simagic have done a serious job with these. There's loads of choice. I couldn't break them no matter how I tried. I actually have hundreds of hours with these devices. If I missed anything, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your experiences, both good and bad, so that we can inform potential buyers as well as possible. If you'd like to buy any of the products in this video, and if this video brought you value, check out my affiliate links and discount codes in the description below. Clicking them before you buy earns some money for the channel at no extra cost to you. I stream every Tuesday and Thursday at 9 PM UK and Irish time. Feel free to pop in and ask me any hardware questions you might have. For now, I'm Lawrence, and I'll chat to you later.